Raise your hand if you believe that there's too much big money in American politics today. If you agree with that sentiment, then you should meet Farhed Mohit. He's the founder of the Good Party, a nonprofit organization building free and open source tools to turn grassroots supporters into voters. Their goal is to support grassroots and ideal candidates who are challenging the status quo and enrich politicians on both sides of the aisle. Mohit joined me this week to discuss the platform in greater detail and how he hopes it'll influence the American political system for the better. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Absolutely, Farhad. I want to take a few seconds to welcome you to the program, and we're excited to learn all about the Good Party this afternoon. So great to be with you this afternoon, and thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Excited to get talking about it.
So I'll start you off with just a simple question by asking you to explain the concept behind the Good Party. I know it's a nonprofit grassroots organization that wants to turn out the vote for voters across the country in a different way. So can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Big money has really corrupted politics. The idea the idea of democracy being for all has been changed a little bit because of how much money it takes to run for office. So 99% of the congressional incumbents get most of their money from big money sources. I don't know if people know that. 99% get most of the money they need to get reelected from big money sources. And 90% of them get reelected year after year to serve based on how much money they've raised. So whoever raises the most money gets reelected. 99% of them get most of their money from big money. So no wonder that even though Congress has an 18% approval rating, nothing changes. These incumbents keep getting in, and that happens. So that was the problem that we saw, I'm a technologist by trade. I've been building startups for a long time, and so my thought was that we can use technology as a lever, so people, candidates, grassroots candidates with good ideas can turn their supporters on social media and other places into voters and help get over this hump of needing so much money. Because if you need to raise that much money to be elected, and it has to all come from big money sources, then your ear has to be to the big money, not to the people, not to the ideas. So you have to only cater all your ideas and everything else to big money, and that's sort of the problem that we're dealing with, and it's a massive problem if you kind of like scale that across all of the government agencies and all the different parts of things. It's just running amok.
And I know that your goal is to sort of support these grassroots candidates to give people another alternative to big money politics. So, from a more broader view, can you just tell me how the movement and effort is going?
Yeah, so the whole idea here was to build sort of the ability for these candidates to be able to take their ideas and use their themselves as the conduit of those ideas and get some name recognition for themselves, spread the word across, and have sort of the word of mouth kind of catching. So basically, what we're doing is we're building this sort of a Kickstarter, if you would, for democracy. By that I mean every campaign is, you have crowdfunding campaigns where people come up with an idea and so many other people start to support the idea. They donate money and they spread the word. We don't want people donating money. We want people pledging their votes and then spreading the word, saying, "Hey, this particular candidate has a great set of ideas. We want, I'd add my vote to this person," and we basically have that your vote not only added to it but also spread, and then just like a crowd voting campaign, we show you crowdfunding campaign. We show you the number of votes needed to win. We show you how many votes have already come in for this person, how many people pledge for it, and sort of what that delta is. So by showing how the campaign is going and kind of bringing visibility into it, you get this hope that yes, this candidate can actually win. And as you get the hope that the candidate can win, more people hopefully come in and start doing that. So we're sort of putting all the infrastructure in place for that. And it's important to note it's all free to candidates. So we you don't have to pay to use the service. We're building free open source software because this has to be part of the infrastructure of democracy, and you can't pay to play. And we can't try to make money out of this. That would be ridiculous. That would be just playing into the same game with a different tack.
And tell me, I'm also curious to get your thoughts on the state of the current political system. I know that not much gets done in Washington, and part of the reason you created this was sort of the backlog of the inactivity. So I'm just wondering if I can get your thoughts on the current political system over there in America.
Yeah, the way that it works right now in the U.S. is that you have to pick your side. You're either red or you're blue by and large. When
You're
you
right or you're wrong, right?
red, yeah, it depends. If you're red, you're red. You're blue, you're blue. You have to kind of take their whole slate, the party's whole slate of offerings, and you have to kind of obstruct anything the other side is trying to do, and you have to point fingers to say, this didn't work because it's their fault, the blue's fault or the red's fault, and you can't compromise on anything because you're just kind of if you compromise on something and work together, then you really have to produce results. But the system isn't designed to produce results. It's designed to produce animosity, divisiveness, and ultimately, drama for TV pundits, political things. It's sort of a completely dysfunctional. The issues are all issues to fight over and take sides on, rather than trying to find the middle ground and solve problems for people. And that's the way this political industrial complex kind of works. It likes it that way. There's a $16 billion industry per year that is, just political punditry, the strategists, the lobbyists, the politicians trying to get reelected, and it's not a very healthy system for democracy at all, because basically all that the people are doing is not doing anything and pointing to the other side as a problem, instead of getting together and working on the hard problems the country's facing.
And tell me, what do you think is the key to movements like the Good Party being sustainable?
Well, I think what we're doing in this election cycle, and is that we're trying to put in together the basics of it. So the basic infrastructure of a crowd voting campaign, and we have 8 races which we feel are close enough where we can, kind of maybe impact the outcome of them, and show that crowd voting can actually bring more people into the equation, bring new voters. There's 100 million people. Eligible people who are not voting in America. Think about that. There's 63 million people voting red, 66 million people voting blue as of the last election. We don't know what's going to happen this time, obviously, but 100 million eligible non-voters, most of them young. So the question really is, why are these people standing on the sideline, and what can get them engaged? If we can show that we can move enough of the people from being disengaged to become engaged, because now they're seeing a good option, not just voting lesser of two evils, and seeing a path to get a good grassroots candidate elected, and we can point to that. I think that is one of the main keys to sustainability, because it's an open source system, because it's free for everyone to use, it becomes a path for many, many others to join the fray, both on the candidate side and for people who have been standing on the sideline, not excited about either of the lesser of two evils, to see, wow, good options, good ordinary people who have great ideas and capabilities can actually become elected into Congress, this becomes one of the keys to sustainability. And I think then that opens the door to lots of other things, because we're free open source software, we also need some capital to sustain ourselves. And we have enough to get ourselves going to get sort of hopefully some of these wins. But my sense of it is that as we build it, if they come, lots of other people will come in to support this. This should be an infrastructural type technology that all candidates can use in order to level the playing field and have democracy function properly. There's no reason why this should not be part of the fabric of democracy, not just in America, but everywhere across the world. And that's one of the other reasons, by the way, we make it free and open source. If you want to use it in your country, go ahead and take the core code, fork it, and customize it for whatever the special areas of any country, special requirements of any country in an election is, and you can do that. And so that's what we feel. Some success, and then the open source system will kind of hopefully kick in, and lots of people will use it and perpetuate it and support it.
And we talked about how the political system is broken, and one of the things that you say, you want a more human-centric approach to politics. So how do you think movements like yours can help influence or shift the political discussion for the greater good?
Well, okay, so at the moment, human-centric, democracy is supposed to be human-centric, right? Democracy is supposed to work for the many and also protect the rights of the minority. So just by its definition, democracy is supposed to be human-centric. The issue is that sort of capital itself, the money, has taken over the rulemaking apparatus, and it's creating rules and absurdities that are not good for vast swaths, majority of people, but it also, I think, is as past the tipping point where it's not even good for the 0.1%. The 0.1% who control increasingly amounts of the world's wealth and resources are not as well off. I mean, financially, they keep stacking the money on top of itself, and they can't even stop it. But imagine someone like Zuckerberg or Bezos. They cannot walk into a Starbucks and buy a coffee without a huge security detail. The statistic was that Zuckerberg spends $24 million a year protecting himself. I would bet that Bezos would not feel comfortable walking around in his own factories, in his own warehouses. There's a risk for him. That means that he's not in as good a place as he was when he was just a little bit, less vilified by many parts of society. And of course, the 80% at the bottom who are seeing their standard of living decrease are not as well off either. So the notion is that if we can get democracy to start bringing the rules back if you start put people in the center of democracy, get unconflicted candidates who are not beholden to money and capital elected, they can start building rules that are more fair and ethical for all of society. And as they do that, everyone benefits, including the people at the tippy top who are supposedly winning right now, but they're not winning because they don't have safety and security. They can't walk around unfeathered. That's a terrible situation for everybody.
And my final question for you, I'm also curious to know, I know that you come from a background of having commercial success, and now you've sort of pivoted towards the politics realm and giving people in grassroots a chance to be heard and profiled in a positive way. So I'm wondering, why are you so passionate about this movement, and why do you feel so connected?
Well, I mean, I'm an immigrant myself, first generation. My parents picked this country, the U.S., because of the Constitution and the rules and and democracy. I was in Iran. I came from Iran, and so we'd experienced how things can go. Focusing on commercial success, I created something called BizRate, which was about ratings and having people have access to information. And one of the first, customer rating sites, Shopzilla, was about price discovery and things like that. Even Flipagram, which is now TikTok, my sense of it was that it's a freedom of expression. One of the First Amendment rights we have. We should be able to express our ideas in the most powerful way possible and have them spread and reach a lot of people. Now, TikTok got focused in on just the entertainment aspect, but having all these skills, being an immigrant who picked this country, now having resources that are beyond what I need for my own self, I thought to myself, what can I do to have the biggest impact? Where can I where can I try to be helpful? And it just was, the idea of more commercial success is meaningless to me. And so it was, where can we change, help people change the rules to make things better for everybody? And I think, including myself, and like I said, the people who are supposedly winning in this situation do not win if there's no climate, the atmosphere, if there's no if there's no safety in the streets, if there's homelessness everywhere. It's not a win for everybody. So to me, the thing I'm doing is where my skills, my resources, and my disposition say that I should be doing, and that's helping fix this political system, because democracy is supposed to result in better outcomes than what's happening for everybody right now. And I feel like it's kind of like the negative aspect of it is where we are today relative to where we could be, but the positive of it is there's so much capability with technology as a lever. If we can get this thing starting to work, we can change the rules. As soon as you start changing the rules, everything will change very, very quickly. We even saw in the pandemic, when there was a shutdown for a little while, how quickly the climate and everything else changed around the world. It was just amazing that quickly and that resiliently the world's climate can change with just some simple rule changes. Now that wasn't sustainable the way that it was shut down and everything else, but you can imagine if we could change the rules, how much better life could be for everybody. And that's what else could you be working on? You want to work on something that makes an impact, changes the world, and that's what I feel like I'm working on right now. So I'm excited about it.
Fantastic, Farhan. I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me and telling me all about the platform of the Good Party and sharing your personal story. Really enjoyed our conversation this afternoon, and I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kevin. I truly enjoyed being on, and I hope everybody goes checks it out, thegoodparty.org. Thank you so much. See you on the platform.
Fantastic, Farhan.